next up, I have a dear friend. I actually met Michael earlier this year at our We Are Tech event, which I was introduced to him by Felicia Hatcher, and we've kept in contact. And as today, Professor McCord reached out to me, and he said, you know what, how can I be involved? Let me know how I want to be involved. And his initial big step was he reached out to be a part of Black Tech Miami. Now, may not sound that big of a deal, but he reached out to be a part of Black Tech Miami. But when you see Mr. McCord, Professor McCord, you'll realize, oh, he really wants to make a difference. So I found it dear to my heart that he reached out and he wanted to be impactful in all communities. And with his company, Learner Nation, it makes sense. He's all about educating people. So without further ado, for researcher, Professor McCord, go ahead.
Thank you. Guys, it is an honor to be here today and talk to you. I think I want to start actually with the Bruce Lee quote. Is that all right? I think people come from all over, and you come to an event like this and you have an idea of your product, your business, what you're going to do, what you're going to learn today. And I think one of the things that, look, I'm not a 7-figure entrepreneur. I know how to get a business up to a really good run rate in a hard environment. We do B2B software. Okay, we compete against giants that are publicly traded, and we compete successfully. And the way that we do that is by some of the comments you heard earlier about, give something away, be creative, be able to flow. So Bruce Lee has this great quote. He says, empty your mind, be formless and be shapeless, like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. It can flow or it can crash. And then he says, be like water, my friend. That's probably the best advice I've ever seen. Because whatever environment you find yourself in, fill the space. Whatever your challenges are, fill the space. So let's talk about the biggest challenge that most entrepreneurs face. And please, this is a discussion. Would really like stop, ask questions. I want to really hear about you guys. I do these events not to listen to myself talk. I do them to try to help somebody that's in a similar situation where I was in 2 to 3 years ago. So who here has a great idea? Sure. Anybody want to share their great idea? Oh, well, you got to. See, that's okay. Well, that's the number one. You got to. So would you mind a little if we apply a little pressure? Okay.
I'll give you the idea I came up with just days ago. It's an idea called Vigil. It's a private security. The idea is called Vigil. It's a private security network that operates in your community. Basically, people with their Class D or Class G license operate in your community as neighborhood watch, and is funded by people who live in that community.
That is very cool.
Like Uber security, basically.
Yeah, that's a very cool idea. All right. So, really important question is, that is a great idea. We think that's a great idea. Do other people think that's a great idea? Yeah? I mean, come on, he just shared his idea. Like,
All right. Oh, y'all, nobody thinks that's a good idea?
do we need more coffee in here?
No, a little bit more. Like, can you
Ah.
said it was like an Uber.
We don't have any NDAs here, so I'm going to just keep it.
Ah, got it.
All right, all right.
Hit you off with the NDA.
Does anybody else have an idea that they can fully share? Go ahead.
It's not an amazing tech idea.
It doesn't. First of all, let's make this clear, guys. This is about innovation, tech, and entrepreneurship. This is not all about tech. Doesn't matter what you're doing.
I have an idea similar to Digital Grass, similar to what everybody else is doing here. I think that as a community in South Florida, if we work together, we'll be better off than we were if we worked independently. Basically, the collective sum is better than the collective sum of individual parts. I'm better on the podcast, I swear. So on the podcast, what we basically do is we give people an opportunity who have businesses, who have entrepreneurial visions, whether that be inside of a corporation and they're trying to elevate themselves, or whether that be outside of a corporation and they're trying to establish themselves. We give them an opportunity to show who they are behind their product, and then also to push their product. And that because people attach and gravitate to people, not as much to products. Like they were saying before with the networking, if I really like you, I'll do this for you. You know what I'm saying? And then if your product's great, I'll do this for your product as well. It gives you another dimension in which you can push or sell, right? So that would be the premise behind my podcast and what my great idea was. I feel like it's a great idea. Do you guys feel like it's a great idea?
All right. Thank you for sharing, first of all. So it is a really great idea.
Thank you.
Now, to bring it back to sort of, because it's a great idea for a group, and then the trick is this. You can do the most good in any community if you have the money to do it. Good ideas by themselves, good intentions without money and capital behind them do not become what they could become. So it'd be very important to find a way to take whatever your great idea is, which is a great idea, but then find a way to have the market pay for it. There are many creative ways to do this. I'm going to talk about what a product is. So who here has a product?
I do.
Okay. What's your product?
Hello, my name is Joy, and we do inspirational baby clothing
That was good.
for the faith-based market. That's what we do, and our mission is to help mothers reconnect and bond with their children in an age that is becoming increasingly digital.
Mm-hmm.
So we see a lot of mothers texting and the baby is to the side. So our goal in the clothing is to help them to be able to pay attention to the baby, other people pay attention to the baby, and begin to develop relationships with your child from a very early age.
That's great. Good job. So that's great. Okay. So she's got a product, which is the clothing, and it is an article or substance that is manufactured or refined for sale, right? That's the exact definition of Webster. So you've got you're on step one done. Now Mark Andreessen Horowitz, who's the partner of Ben Horowitz, wrote the book Hard Thing About Hard Things, which is actually a great book. I never, ever recommend books, like ever. I don't like Predictive Revenue. I don't like most of the other ones. I really suggest this book. Oh, sorry for tapping the table. There's a microphone on it.
What's the name of the book?
The Hard Thing About Hard Things.
The same one Don mentioned.
Yep. It is the best book on entrepreneurship. It requires no money. It's just about, hey, it's tough, figure it out, and be really creative. And that's really what the book is about. It's a great book. But their firm says that a startup's product can be defined as how impressive the product is to one user or customer that actually uses it. And that's really interesting, right? Because we always think that in business, you've got to have many, many customers. But maybe you could just get one, right? It was really interesting, the idea of giving away, if your product's shoes, give away some shoes because it's actually cheaper than marketing it, and get the customers using it. And then let's get them to start paying for it. So basically, look, if you don't have customers, you don't have a product. And if you don't have a product, you don't have a business. That's life. Them's the facts. That's what we've got to all fight to have. We've got to have a product so that we have a business. So I'm going to be talking about B2B software, but I'm going to actually try to take it out of the context because of hearing some of the things you guys are into. I'm going to try to make it more in the consumer world. So I'm going to tell you the steps that we took to get our first customer. And the steps that we took were that we tried to look real. Basically what we'd want to look like, 3 to 5 years from now. Now, does anybody recognize this young woman on the left? Does anybody recognize the woman on the right? They're the same woman. What's the difference? Hair, makeup, good photographer? Who's got Photoshop or access to Photoshop? I mean, you can get pretty close if your goal was to be a fashion. And little known fact, she bought her first 10, 20,000 Twitter followers. I have this on reasonably good authority. Lots of people do it. I'm not saying that you should do that, but I'm saying you should definitely get endorsements. Get people that love the baby clothes to say, man, I love these baby clothes. They make me feel good. I got this gift for my mom or my grandma, and I feel so much better about it. And show who you want to be 5 years from now, today, like a puffer fish. Maybe that's a good example. Then pick a big test customer, or maybe if it's a consumer good, a meaningful test customer, right? Big customers or meaningful customers, celebrities, people who have, in your case, perhaps blogs, mother's blogs, in your case, maybe community leaders, and try to get them to work with you in your product and service. And the reason why you want to pick somebody big, don't focus on if you can sell your friends or if your family likes it, because they like you. They're not going to tell you what you need to hear. You need the market to respond to you positively.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So in reference to the word big, can you elaborate
Sure.
and what it means within this context.
Sure. Do you want to?
customer is somebody who influences the market as a whole already.
So they're basically, so they're like customers who you have converted into loyal brand ambassadors. Or
Let's see, just if you could summarize your business in 2 sentences or product or service, would you give that to us, and then we can help identify, because it is a very subjective answer for each person. It really is.
software as a service business.
Okay, great. Enterprise?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. We're in the same boat. So it's somebody that has a lot of employees or users in your case, or somebody that will give you a good case study, right? That's it.
So a vocal customer.
Somebody that's willing to be vocal. And look, there's so much. Entrepreneurship has the opportunity for great success, great happiness. It also has the opportunity for the other way. Again, that Mark Anderson's quote, I love how terrified I am and I love how happy I am some days. Like, that's true. So what you need to do is you need to minimize the terror. You need to minimize the pain. And the way that you do that is by going out and sometimes doing things for free, especially if you're in enterprise. You should do some things for free. Now, here's just a tip. To make money in enterprise, sell hardware or sell a side product, right? Mark Cuban got started selling hardware and side products. And the companies that will use your enterprise service, okay, if you're in enterprise software, SaaS, they will need devices with it. You may be able to make a really nice margin on that. So it's just a tip. It worked for us.
For example, Amplify,
Okay?
right?
Yeah.
Like how they have the software and then they have the tablet.
You're an
Then
enterprise.
that can-
Yeah.
Then that can get extremely costly. And then
If
you gotta
it's-
have like VC funding. I mean, it's just gonna
Right. But I'm not saying to manufacture your own hardware. I'm saying you've seen there's companies that are basically middlemen. Be a middleman. So for us, we sell a learning system, okay, and it's an online learning system. And they didn't have one of our first customers was Cartier, basically. Okay, this was like our big luxury customer, first big luxury customer. We made more money selling them tablets. We made a lot of money selling them tablets and laptop computers, more so than we did off our software license the first time around. Now the numbers are switched, but that took time. So for you, that's probably the best advice I could give you. I wish somebody had told me that. I really do. I wish I was sitting where you are 3 years ago. Okay, any other questions about big test customer? Okay. So user story. All right. When you think you have a great idea, it does not matter if you don't listen to the market's reaction to your idea. The #1 source of pain, difficulty, and failure is not listening to what the market is trying to tell you, right? You might think, well, hey, I built a product and it's a lemon, right? Now, what do lemons? Lemons they're high in vitamin C, they're yellow, they're sour, right? These are qualities of a lemon. How many people in this room like one of those qualities, one of those 3 qualities? They like something that can be sour, they like lemonade, they like certain aspects of a lemon. But how many people right now want to just eat a lemon? None. So the trick is take the aspects of your product, listen to the market feedback, and then build something slightly different than the lemon that you had in your mind, right? So, yeah.
And this point probably is very, very, it relates very well with timing,
Yeah.
right? So if you're listening to your market and you're creating a idea, like, if you listen carefully, they'll tell you whether or not it's a good time for you to.
They will. You may have the idea of the future. You might have decided what a product that people are going to love 10 years from now. You may have that, but the market isn't ready for that. The market's ready for the sour quality of the lemon. They're not ready for the lemon, you know? You've got to sort of be strategic in that. And honestly, this is about sales and marketing at its core. And that's it. It's sales and marketing all day long. And you must be able to sell and you must be able to market to at least one customer or one person. And in your space, because I know a little bit about your space, that's everything. So one of the best ways to do that is to talk to one of your potential users or talk to one of your actual users and ask them how they actually use your consumer product, how they actually use your service, what they think about it, how it makes them feel, right? I mean, a lot of people buy things based on the way that it makes them feel, right? So you want to get a user story and understand how they're going to use it. Number 4, get a contract. You don't necessarily need a big firm attorney lawyer to do that. You can go on ORIC Forms is a great resource for initial contracts. Y Combinator has some. Try not to spend money until you know you're going to get a return on your money. But get a contract that makes you look big. Again, pufferfish. Like that. So you're going to have to do some services if you're selling a product. I think it's a great way to do services. Like I would just suggest maybe some consulting aspect, like in your case, or team up with somebody that sells into your market already, and maybe you could kind of go along with them. We sold computers. I mean, we did make $30,000 in 2 weeks selling computers, and we had a really nice profit margin on it because, entrepreneurship. I don't know, that was it. And that funded us getting started on our product. And actually, that funded us building out our product. Our product was 4 sheets of paper that we turned into a website that didn't really work when we first sold it. Then the thing that you want to do kind of after you get your user story, after you sign your contract, is you want to sign another contract. Because multiple contracts mean that you have product market fit. Multiple sales of your consumer product, multiple sales of yourself as a consultant, multiple members in the group that you start, right? And how much product market fit you have is determined by the percentage yes that you get back from the market when you tell people about your idea. Any questions on that? Any ideas? Any comments? Okay. Still don't hire a lawyer. Don't need one. Well, I mean, look, you can do a contract in 1 page. Now, I hate telling people this. I really hate telling people this. But I feel like it's necessary to say when I'm going to say don't hire a lawyer twice in a conversation. I went to University of Miami, and I went to Vanderbilt. I'm an inactive licensed attorney in the state of Tennessee. That's a fact. I let my law license go because I built a business that has about 250,000 users now. I went into law because I thought I could help people, but I realized I could help more people with software because I don't have to be providing a personal service to help people. And I didn't like the arguing and everything that went on. But anyway, just point being, the form's really good enough. And you can have a form that says, hey, will you be my friend? Here's $1. Okay, I'll be your friend for a month. That's a contract. Okay? Did you say yes?
If all else fails, go to Westlaw and just like that.
But there really are. ORIC Forms, O-R-R-I-C-K, is a great resource. That doesn't mean lawyers don't have a place. Okay, I'm not saying that. But okay, so if you're able to achieve those 5 steps, then you've got product market fit, and you can pop champagne. Does everybody feel really good about what we've said so far? Okay. I think it's important to highlight the potential outcome of what we've said so far. Does anybody know what a closing rate is in sales?
Yes.
Could you share?
The rate at which you're able to convert a lead or a prospect into an actual profitable sale.
Absolutely right. So yep. So, oh, okay. I like the way he put it, though. He did a great job. So it's basically your conversion rate from "Hi, how are you?" to "Thank you, I'll take your money, and thanks for signing the check." Okay, that's the simplest way to do it, right? It's how many people out of 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people are going to say it. Now, most good businesses are considered good at the rate of about 20 to 30% in my industry for a close rate. In your industries, it may vary, okay? Now, let's think about what that means. Let's say I think I have a great idea. Let's say I'm a relatively good person and I'm going to be decent at doing what I'm going to go do. If I go talk to 10 people and I have a 30% close rate, is it possible for the first 7 people to tell me no and slam the door in my face?
Yes.
Is it possible if I go talk to 1,000 people for 700 people to tell me no, make me doubt myself, and slam the door in my face? It doesn't feel good. I'm being honest. It doesn't. But you have to be okay going through it. There's a great person I won't quote right now, but they say, I look in the mirror, my only opponent. And that's very true. It's you. It's your ability to be strong. It's your ability to know. Now, don't be crazy, Okay, that's the other part too. Like, this is the product market fit. It's a conversation with the market. You don't go and if you've got a friend, you don't say, you know, hey, I want to make my friend happy. I'm going to do whatever I want to do to make them happy. You got to talk to your friend about how to make them happy. But this is just to give you an example from Tatango. This is a website conversion kit, and they've got basically 2% of people that visit their website on average sign up for a free trial. I mean, think about that. That's 98 out of 100 no's. It doesn't matter, though. You only need 1 or 2 yeses. They're great enterprise software SaaS businesses that are built off of one. I'll tell you openly, we have under 100 clients, and business is great. It really is. So now, if you can go through all that, you've got a real business. And the most important thing to do is to make time for yourself and make time for your family, right? Because that's really what you're going to have at the end of the day. So, all right. That's the presentation part of this. But like, guys, I'm here, and I'm a very open, blunt person. You can beat me up. I'm not Jack Dorsey. I didn't just build Square, but I did build something to a reasonable size. So, if you have any questions, please let me be helpful.
So guys, we had a couple of questions in here, but if you have any questions, let's do the same thing. Come around, because I need to get this part on mic. Toya has the mic, so Toya, you can say it.
I have a question. The last part you said, make time for family, and that's as some of us serial entrepreneurs know that's a major thing. So what do you do to make time for your family?
You know, honest answer is I haven't been very good at it. I have an 18-month-old baby, and I've been home to see her probably 3 days on time in the last 2 weeks, before 5 or 6. And it's because I got wrapped up in stuff, you know? And so I look at that and I say, you know, you got to come back. What am I missing? So what I did is I got really fed up with myself in the middle of the week, and I put a picture of them. Because your mind can only hold so many things. So I put a picture of her up on my computer. And I remember I'm going to be putting time into my daughter, who's going to love me the rest of her life. I'm putting time to a business that's going to help pay for things. But, I mean, guys, there's a certain point at which you're happy, right? You don't got to be a billionaire. In fact, they say, there's a quote, you make more than $75,000 a year, your happiness doesn't necessarily increase. So, any other questions I can help with?
So I'm trying to think how I'm going to phrase this question. So you started as a lawyer, and then you went into software.
Yeah, became a product designer.
Now, do you think that not really knowing...
Keep the mic in front of your mouth.
Yeah. How much knowledge did you have before going into that new industry? And did that potential lack of knowledge of the potential risks help to, help your business grow?
I'm a person who's very aware of risks. I read a blog called IO9 that talks about the odds of us even existing right now is something infinitesimal, and the odds of you and I having this conversation is infinitesimally small right now. And the odds of a business making it into its, into the first year, second year, third, fourth year, this is a miracle. So I know that there's risks. There's risks in everything. And so as much as I'm saying to acknowledge the risks, I'm saying I think it's if you know that you can be a good lifelong learner. I think that's the one thing that I got out of law school: how to learn something really quickly and then forget it. Make use. I'm not great at anything. I'm a B-level player at a lot of things. Okay, like I'm not the Birdman. Okay, I'm not. So that's how I would kind of address that question. Is that, and I was aware of the risks. I mean, I read. You can read about it, and don't read maybe don't read the hard things about hard things. Go on Quora, read the war stories. Read up Brad Feld. I mean, Brad Feld's, he'll tell you, kind of similar to what I'm telling you right now. It's not all pixie dust, right? It's a battle. Yeah.
So I asked this question.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Pass the mic. Okay, guys, we're gonna do this today. Let's go ahead and classroom rules. Since I can, one question. Pass the mic. You do not follow up. Your follow-up is the answer. The professors are here. You talk to them later, or you wait for another question. Okay? Classroom, I'm sorry, I should have did house rules when we first started. But a little bit of house rules. Let's keep this flow going. I can't have you talking back and forth because we don't get it on microphone. So it's not because I don't want you to talk, it's because this is a production for other people to be able to hear what you're saying so they can also learn. So if they can't hear the question, it just sounds like he's making things up.
Yeah.
Are we cool there?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Okay, you said that at this particular process or this particular point in the process, you wouldn't hire an attorney. You would go to some free forms bank or something like that and get a contract. But you did say, not at this point, but maybe at another point. At what point do you think an attorney would be helpful to the new entrepreneur?
Probably when you can afford one. Probably when you can afford one is the best way to put it. And that is a subjective answer, and I'm sorry I don't have a hard cutoff number, but it's kind of like when you feel like you need one. Look, there's tons of attorneys love to talk about services. They love to talk to you. Get an opinion if you really, really need something. And I don't think to test product market fit that you need something, because all you need to do is say, I'm going to provide you this service under these conditions, and it's going to work or it's not going to work. And that's it. You know, it's as simple as asking somebody out on a date or getting married, honestly. Those aren't necessarily simple, but it's about the same list of terms. It's duration, payment amount, conditions. Yeah.
Mike, Professor McCord, a couple of our pre-selected questions, and if you guys have any more questions, just let Dante know so he can bring you the mic, but without a complete or perfect idea or information, when did you know it was time to launch?
I think you launch immediately. I really like the lemon story. This is actually an analogy. I was trying to think of a good analogy to give today, and I felt really good about the lemon story because when you launch, you can see if the market wants the lemon, and which is your idea. The lemon is your idea. And then from there, you can either redact or modify the lemon or the qualities of the lemon. So that's what I did, and I would go and talk to people. And that's how I knew that it was time to keep going. I mean, we built our business bootstrap. We did not receive funding at first. I've actually had a very hard time acquiring funding in Miami until more recently. But, you know, that's the best answer I could give.
Got you. You have a question? Anybody else have a question? Go ahead. Mike, get the mic behind you.
If you were starting all over again, would you recommend any of the online funding such as Kickstarter, GoFundMe, and sort of presenting your idea as sort of a social innovation company instead of just the strict
There's
business
a slide for that.
that it is?
It depends. I don't think I would go online and say, hey, everybody, check it out, Kickstarter. We're going to fund an enterprise software as a service learning company. I wouldn't expect the money to just explode, right? Now, if I had something like a razor that smelled like bacon, then I might go on Kickstarter. But everything is subjective. I think, again, you have to be like water. You've got to know your space. You've got to fill the cup with yourself and make good decisions.
Professor McCord, one other question that we got in, for you especially since you do software development, was competition a reason to walk away or an incentive to dive all in?
Well, it's been both. I don't think you want to be the only person in a room, you know, wearing a purple striped shirt. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with purple. I don't know, something bad. You'd want to be the only person in a bacon-scented suit, right? You want bacon-scented suits to be de la mode. So if your idea is bacon-scented suits, then you should make sure that other people are in the bacon-scented suit, like at least one or two, because it's a big country, big world, there's a lot of people, okay? You don't want to be alone in a market. Now, you'll also hear about something called the blue ocean strategy, which some of you all probably know about. And the idea of that is a red ocean is when there's a ton of competitors, which is the market we're in. So a red ocean for learning management systems. But what we did is we built a great one, and we got some really big customers, okay? And that was a struggle. But through that struggle, we became smart enough to say, well, what's it going to look like 3 to 5 years from now? So our competition,
Right.
once we became smart enough to outcompete them, I mean, we, not me by myself, but our team, right? I'm representative of 14 people. outcompeted Cornerstone, publicly traded company. And now we're going to kick their butt with our new product.
Okay.
We have a new product coming out that's just different, you know? And it is a little bit more of a blue ocean. Now, what we found in that market was we found there's a consulting company it's a data aggregator product that applies data aggregation to learning and performance data. And so we found out there was a consulting company that's kind of doing that, but the solution that they're providing is consulting. But it's interesting because we're providing automated suggestions. So they're providing consulting as a solution post-data aggregation. We're providing automated suggestions in machine learning. Those are kind of similar, right? So I think the competition toughens you up, and I think it helps you make a meaningful innovation.
Gotcha.
Helps you know what kind of lemon people are going to want.
Go ahead.
Hi. Just a question regarding the software development. I mean, you have the entire picture in your mind, what it's going to be like, how the consumer is going to use it, all that. And when you hire people to do your work, do you give them the entire picture, or do you divide them into little capsules and have different people work on different things so they don't, you know, kind of come out with it before you or run away with your idea?
If somebody's going to compete with you, I used to be very much, you're going to have an NDA to hear about our idea, and I totally understand that, and I respect the position, especially first time around. Later on, I realized about strength, right? It's about what is your strength. Programmers and developers, most of them, not all of them, but most of them don't like doing sales. So they might be able to build it, but they're not going to be able to sell it. And vice versa. You might be great at sales, but you might not be great at coding. It's just a different skill set. So I think it's really important to mention that you need to do things in stages. You need to say that minimum viable product thing, that's no joke, guys and gals. That's minimum viable product. What do you need to build? How much money do you have to put in to sell it? I would argue to you that in the software business, it's about 4 to 5 sheets of paper and a user story. I mean, seriously. And if you were building software, if you've got a great idea, you're going to be able to find somebody who's going to invest a little bit of time to help you build it to a certain stage to test it. I mean, it's not, you know. So that would be my advice. Don't go out, spend all your money on software developers just yet. Get them to test. Now, there's some very good groups, and Michael knows a lot of the good groups. So I would ask him for advice. But be careful and be like water.
All right. Last thing, to kind of wrap it up. Do you have any resources you would like to advise the team on, like what they should look into?
Yes. Okay. I really don't like promoting books, but again, that hard thing about harder things, I'll be driving into work and I'll hear him say something that's literally something I'm going to go through that day. It's just the best book for you for enterprise. I think that's great. There's also for software. There's also a blog called Thomas Tunguz, TOMAS space TUNGUZ. So if you're doing software as a service, that's a great resource. I've been a big fan of Oric Forms to a certain point to get started. I'm a big fan of Buffer. I think those are probably the ones that I would quote to you by heart. And you know, if you have a need, right, I'll stay around for a few minutes afterwards. If there's a need that you can't fulfill and you're looking for a resource for, please feel free to ask me. I really like being helpful. I really do.
All right. Let's give a round of applause for Professor McCord.